Welcome to the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast, where it is never too early for fantasy football. My name is Jeff.
Alex. We're lucky to be joined here today with Jerome, who's going to be joining us on a semi-regular basis and filling in for me because I'm having twin boys soon. So Jerome will be taking my spot for the next few weeks. And if he likes it, then it might be the three of us for the foreseeable future. We're happy to have you, Jerome.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
As always, thank you for downloading, listening, liking, and commenting on our podcast videos. Please join our community by subscribing to us on the socials. Our handle on all platforms is at N2E Fantasy. We're also available on all major podcasting apps by searching N2E Fantasy. Alex, what do we have on today's show?
On this episode of the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast, we are recapping all Week 6 action, getting ready for Week 7 action. But first, there is our first league news item, big league news item, Jeff. I believe you called the first head coach firing. Why don't you break down who it was?
Yeah, there's a lot of head coaches that appear to be on the hot seat right now, but the first of those coaches were let go, and the Titans fire head coach Brian Callahan. And this comes after a questionable week 1 press conference where it did not appear that he knew the rules, and he thought that you needed to get a knee and 2 feet down or something ridiculous like that, or an elbow didn't count as 2 feet, and he got corrected and he pretended like he knew the rule, but we all knew that something didn't seem right there. And now Cam Ward gets another shot at another head coach, but a hire likely won't come until the end of the year. Any candidates for that job right now?
I know Mike McCoy took over as the interim head coach, and he kind of had a disastrous end in LA with the Chargers. But right now, it looks like they're going offensive head coach candidate. Someone to groom Cam Ward and salvage him. Don't know who yet. Don't know who would be interested, to be honest with you.
I did hear your buddy Art Smith's name thrown out there.
Gosh. He needs to just retire and enjoy his dad's FedEx money, to be honest with you.
Maybe 16 tight ends will come there with him.
Yeah. Jerome, do you have any idea who the Titans are going to hire next?
I think it's going to be Mike McCarthy.
Could be.
That'd be a big boy hire.
Who do we think the next head coach firing is going to be?
Well, I'll tell you a surprise one because I've been on board that they shouldn't fire him, and I still believe that they shouldn't fire him, but Mike McDaniel, after they lose to the Browns this week, sounds like another potential firing candidate.
You're calling out a pick already. Wow.
Yeah, I'm scrolling to make sure that I was supposed to pick first on that one. No, I wasn't. Darn it.
It's okay. But you're coming around on that firing, huh? I know he's one of your favorite coaches.
No, I don't think that he should be fired. I think that it's the quarterback there. And we'll get to some of the quarterback's comments a little bit later. Who do you think, if it's not Mike McDaniel, who do you think is going to get fired next?
I would have said Mike McDaniel, but you jumped me there. I think Zach Taylor could be an option to get fired. He's kind of poorly run the Bengals offense. It doesn't work without Mr. Burrow there. So I think he would be a good candidate to be fired at this point. Jerome, do you have anyone in mind?
I think it's got to be McDaniel. I just can't picture anybody else
Jonathan
being high
Gannon,
on the
maybe?
list right now.
I think Jonathan Gannon is on borrowed time as well.
Yeah, he may get enough wins to save his job, though.
Yeah, I just think that DeMarcado altercation on the sideline is leaving a little bit of a bad taste in folks' mouth.
Well, everyone's split on it. Either you're a softie for thinking that's a problem, or you don't see anyone else lose their composure like that. I think that's what I would say, is that he completely lost his composure with that interaction.
Yeah, and you kind of want to keep those. You want to keep those behind closed doors, like to do that in a stadium full of 60,000 people like it's nothing.
What was more disturbing, that interaction or Trevor Lawrence picking his nose on camera for a full 30 seconds?
Hey, leave my boy Trevor alone. He's not getting fired either. Is Cohen.
I mean, if you had a nose that looked that good, you would pick it too.
That is true, and hair that look that good too.
Crystal blue eyes, dreamy. All
Uh,
right. If only he could throw the ball well. Anyway, all right. Well, looks like we can move on to week 6 and recap those games. Just a reminder: the Texans and Vikings were on bye, didn't have any games this week, but we can get started on Thursday night. Thursday night games have actually been really good this year. I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel they've actually been pretty solid, and we had quite the upset. We both went for the presumed leader in the clubhouse, the Eagles, and the Eagles got beat down by the Giants. Jeff, what were your takeaways in this game?
so the score was 34 to 4 or 17, sorry. They got doubled up in this one. And Philly seems to be disengaged. They had ball control issues, especially with their 2 backup running backs. I specifically remember Bigsby having a muffed punt or kick return, and A.J. Dillon might have had one as well as a fumble. So interesting there, because that seems like a concentration, disengaged behavior. Barkley only had 12 carries in this one, and after coming off a game with 5 to 6 carries, he about totaled a whole game's worth of carries through 2 weeks, and that's not okay either. What do you guys believe that he needs to, what the Eagles need to do to get this going?
Well, I need to get a little bit more creative, I think. Get their actual wide receivers involved more and run the ball more with Barkley, because 12 rushes for Barkley isn't enough. He was actually having success. It feels like they don't use him enough.
Yeah, they got to run the ball more. I mean, in that Giants game, I mean, that was like a momentum game. I just felt like the Giants had it and just didn't let it go. Where normally that gets traded back and forth. They just had it and just kept their foot on the gas the whole game and just made the Eagles look like they had no chance.
Agreed, and Dart has a great game against the champs with 2 total touchdowns. But the real MVP here is Cam Skattebo, who had 3 rushing touchdowns. This does feel like the New York frat house right now. I don't know if anybody else getting that vibe, but that's my vibe.
I was about to bring that up. I'm like, Jeff coined this, the New York Frat House. But
It's
yeah,
a party.
with Dart and Skattebo, totally see it. And even Dable seems like he's getting in on the frat vibe too. It's so funny.
I noticed his name wasn't on the hot seat.
I wasn't super big on Skattebo in college. Wasn't sure it was going to translate, but he runs hard, man. He runs hard and he plays hard. And I like Dart. I've been saying Dart's better than Shedeur Sanders, and I finally got someone to acknowledge me in Reddit. It's like, you were actually accurate with this post. I'm like, thank you. Thank you, random person on the internet. Somebody appreciates me.
Nothing like random appreciation from a stranger.
So funny. Like, and Dable's actually showing that he can coach now. Like, wasn't sure if he could the past couple years. He had his great moments with Josh Allen, but his past few years in New York haven't been that great. And then he's bringing in concepts from Ole Miss that Jackson Dart is familiar with, and he's showing what a good offensive coach should do is draw plays up, bring in plays that your quarterback already knows how to do. He's coming straight out of college, incorporate it into the game plan, and it's working well. So I like what they're doing. I just wish Neighbors wasn't hurt.
I heard they're in the wide receiver market, but you'll know that I've stuck up for Dable all these years as well, and it's nice to be vindicated a little bit here.
Well, he shows up this year. He hasn't the last 2 years, so I'll give him credit.
Yeah, he had Daniel Jones, and then they let their
looks like
best
a rock
offensive.
star now.
I know. They let their all-star Pro Bowl running back Saquon Barkley go, and that kind of ruined the whole vibe, in my opinion. But anything else on this matchup, gentlemen?
No, I think that's it.
All right, hop over to the next one here, and this is our second to last international game of the year. Another London game here, but the Broncos do win this matchup against the Jets. Alex picked the Broncos, I picked the Jets, so Alex, congratulations on getting one up here. The Broncos limp to a 13-11 victory. It does not seem like anybody wanted to win this matchup. Jets defense was better. However, Justin Fields managed 76 total yards in this matchup between the air and the ground. So, do you guys believe that Justin Fields should remain the starter after the end of the poor first half and poor second half, too?
Yeah, I think so. Not because he's great or anything, but because they really don't have much of an option at this point. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're still not going to win with the backup quarterback. So you might as well see what you have in Fields, and either he's someone you want to keep next year, or he's someone that maybe you can get some trade value if he has a few more good games.
Yeah, I would stick with Fields, even though, I mean, he took 9 sacks this game. It's like the most sacks in a game in like 20 or 30 years or something like that. I just think he's got to cut the sacks down. And it's kind of surprising, given his mobility, that he wouldn't be able to get out of some of that. I don't know if just holding the ball too long, and I don't know, 9 sacks is a ton. I mean, you're breaking those type of records. It's not a good thing.
It seems like he just gets caught staring down the field and has no awareness. It's not, if he's paying attention, he has a hard time getting brought down because he is athletic, like you pointed out, but he's trying to get the ball down the field and just loses sight of the rush.
Absolutely. And on the flip side, though, the Broncos and Knicks offense weren't much better. You could say the jury is still out on how good they are given the quality of their opponents lately, especially considering the Eagles getting doubled up by the Giants this past week. So,
Yeah, Broncos have
Oh,
been disappointing. I don't know. I expected them to go up a level and from last year, and it's just treading water.
well, I feel that their running backs and wide receivers aren't anything special. They're other than Sutton, everyone else is replaceable level talent, in my opinion, for role players. But they seem to refuse to want to add another wide receiver to this mix that's actually good, like acquire an elite wide receiver that may be available or just a better wide receiver too. And until that happens, they're going to be kind of this above average, gritty team that can play defense really well, and then when the run game works, they're really good. But this was either a sloppy international game or this was a very tough defensive matchup for both of these teams. Maybe a little bit of both. Jets could have tightened up their defense a little bit. It's hard to tell right now. Maybe we'll see next week if they continue to play well on defense. But ultimately, I think the Broncos are going to stumble into the playoffs.
it is possible. And I really did think the addition of Evan Ingram was going to be a game changer for year two of Bo Nix, and it has really not been. So, a little bit of a surprise there. Anything else here? All right, we can move on to our 1 o'clock games here. And the first one was the Cardinals at the Colts. Alex and I both picked the Colts. The Colts did win, but this was a Jacoby Brissett spot start, and it was very late that it was announced that he was going to be starting this game. And the Colts did win 31-27, so it was a much closer game than we thought it would be. But I'm going to turn this one over to Alex here. And Alex, are the Cardinals better without Kyler Murray?
I don't know if it's exactly better. Their passing game is better. Their rushing game is worse. And they trying to use Knight instead of Carter. And I think Carter's a better running back. Obviously, DeMarcado got relegated in this one because of that fumble and that interaction, but they should be a little bit better than this. I would have said Harrison would have benefited, but he got the concussion this game, and we'll see if he plays week 7. But Harrison was excited to play with Brissett instead of with Kyler Murray. So I think that should tell you how the team feels about Kyler Murray, or the players at least, as a quarterback.
Yeah, and I think Michael Wilson was battling some injuries in this one as well. So that forced Zay Jones to step up in this one. Anything on the Colts side of the ball here, Jerome or Alex?
Colts are just rolling. Indiana Jones, Jonathan Taylor. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, Tyler Warren. I mean, I feel like Tyler Warren has definitely helped unlock this offense and given them another dimension, red zone target. I mean, he's scoring touchdowns. I don't know. I mean, Shane Steichen. I mean, I was a Daboll guy too, and I was surprised Daboll couldn't fix Daniel Jones, and I was surprised Steichen couldn't fix Anthony Richardson. But now Steichen fixed Daniel Jones, right? So I don't know. It's just a riddle that I find interesting. But what they're doing is working, and I mean, they're 5-1, and they're just steamrolling teams.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more of a puzzle piece than a riddle because you need to find two pieces that fit together, and I think Daniel Jones and Steichen fit together. I think another example of this is Mac Jones and Kyle Shanahan. I just feel like they fit together as well, and it's kind of unlocked a different version of Mac Jones. So interesting that both the Jones boys here, the Jones brothers, are performing well on their second, well, technically third team for Daniel Jones. Third team for Mac, too. He played for the Jaguars last year.
Yeah, I just think the supporting cast in Indianapolis is really good, and it's much better than what they had with the Giants. So that kind of shows you how bad the Giants general manager was. So it's not all on Dable, but Jones fits in better with the Colts. I do think Jones has some struggle areas, and that's throwing in the middle of the field. Seems like he's very close to having like multiple interceptions each game because he throws a dangerous pass in the middle. He had one this game, and it could have been three. So I worry about that. I worry about when, the house of cards comes tumbling down when teams get him figured out. But he's the best option they have, and really the only option they have now that Richardson broke his face in training before and is now on IR.
Man, on IR, injured eye socket, I believe, with a leg band.
Orbital bone. Can't even speak.
Yeah. At first, though, it sounded like it was a healthy scratch before we had any details on what was going on. But your buddy, A.D. Mitchell, got healthy scratched in this one now that they were able to switch back to Alec Pierce. And do you think this what do you think the signals for A.D. Mitchell?
I think this was a punitive scratch because he fumbled last week and also Pierce was healthy. I think really the five of them, so Pittman, Pierce, Downs, A.D. Mitchell, well, really, I guess the four of them should be healthy starts each week. They really only had three wide receivers that caught this week. I don't see why A.D. Mitchell would be a real scratch. So, it seems
Absolutely.
punitive.
And don't forget, as Jerome mentioned, Tyler Warren here, and he's having one of the best rookie seasons ever, and that includes Brock Bowers last year.
He's tied in too right now.
He's going to be good for years to come. Anything else on this one here? All right, Browns at the Steelers are our next one here. We both picked the Steelers. The Steelers won. Gabriel and the Browns were unable to move the ball much, so they lose 23-9. Does anyone think that Gabriel's job should be in question here, or are we a little premature on that still?
Don't think he should be starting. He shouldn't be throwing the ball 52 times. I think they should have kept trying to run the ball with Judkins, but what do I know? I'm just someone who sits here, talks about football, and watches it. He's just not good. Predictably not good. That's all I can say about him.
I think he could manage the offense. I mean, I just feel like they just can't get anything going. I mean, even when Quinshawn is running, I mean, it's just, I don't know. They're getting threes instead of sevens, or they're getting zeros at the end of the day somehow. And it's just not working. I mean, the D's good, but I don't know. Judy, I mean, was Judy's season last year a mirage? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how good Judy is. And Joku can't even out snap Fannin. I'm
Well,
just not
Joker got
sure
hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not sure the supporting cast is even, beyond Judkins, who I think is a stud. I'm just not sure the supporting cast is good enough for a guy like Gabriel to even be successful.
I think they did a chart of all of his throws, and none of them were past 15 yards. So when everyone knows you can't throw deep, they're just going to play up, which means your run game is going to suffer, which it did, and your wide receivers aren't going to put up much stats because they're not getting big plays. So maybe this is the Joe Flacco effect. Joe Flacco's gone; he's not slinging it deep anymore. So now Judkins has no room to run.
Absolutely, and it could be the
Yeah.
Steelers' defense too. But
They're not
on the
that impressive this year.
yeah, they just came off the bye though, and I feel like they figured out a few things. And Jalen Warren's back, and it seems like he regained the backfield. DK Metcalf looks like a safe start. They're playing some ball control now on offense, which is really nice to see. And I believe the division is the Steelers to lose right now because I don't really see another team that could be a potential contender here. It's got to make you feel pretty good, Jerome, there.
Yeah, Steeler Nation is loving life right now, no doubt about it. But I mean, with Arthur Smith as the OC, I mean, it's just, hard to believe this is where we're at. And the defense has kind of sucked, and we're still 5-1 and in the driver's seat. But yeah, I was surprised that Warren didn't really get a lot of touches this game. I mean, I know he was coming back, but I don't know, being in control, I'm just surprised, he only had 11 carries.
They like them some Gainwell right now. At least get a 60-40 split going. Anything else here with the Steelers and the Browns? All right, on to the Cowboys at the Panthers. I don't mind talking about this game this week. Alex and I unfortunately both picked the Cowboys. The Panthers won 30-27. And Rico Dowdle had a true revenge game in 239 yards. So, do we believe this is Rico Dowdle's job now? And is there a possible trade for Chuba Hubbard at some point here?
I think it's a split backfield, and I don't think they're going to trade.
No, I don't think they're going to trade. And I think Hubbard's going to end up taking the backfield back. Maybe not week 7, but I think it's only a matter of time. I mean, the Panthers invested in him and they knew what these guys were, and Hubbard was dominating the snaps. And I just think they're going to get back to that at some point.
Yeah, I could easily see that as well. But there's teams like the Los Angeles Chargers that are out there calling for running backs, and Panthers like Trevor Etienne, and they have Dowdle, and they have Jonathan Brooks waiting in the wings next year. I mean, obviously, there's a chance that he never returns, but they're not hurting for running back depth at this exact moment. Right. Speaking of the Panthers improving in an area, their rush defense seems to have really improved from last year, which is, I believe they're a bottom 2 or 3 defense last year, and now to dominate one side of the ball where Javonte Williams was rendered pretty ineffective this week, and he was one of the better rushers coming into the week. That's pretty cool to see. And first-round rookie Tet McMillan gets his first 2 touchdowns, and that was nice to see as well. Bryce Young does have a good day, and I still believe that the Panthers should consider moving on from him in the offseason, or at least finding a better option, because I'm not sure how sustainable this is. Alex, you got something to say there, it looks like.
Not getting Joe Burrow.
I mean, I would take him in a heartbeat. I do believe that the Bengals should trade him.
Yeah, he traded from one cat team to another.
Hey,
Would
sometimes
you
gotta
rather
change
Bryce
tacks.
would you rather Bryce Young or Mac Jones as the quarterback
Do I get to
of
take
your
Kyle
Carolina
Shanahan with
Panthers?
me?
Yeah.
Who's backing up somebody right now that's rehabbing their value? That's a good question right now. Can't think of anybody at this exact moment. Mac is
Cooper
one of them.
Rush.
Yeah, I don't think Cooper Rush will be in the league next year at this point.
Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
There
Aaron
we go.
Rodgers.
He said he's retiring. That's not.
So did Brett Favre multiple times.
They're best friends, aren't they?
I was just gonna say you keep throwing out the idea that Chuba Hubbard would be traded, but Doddle's the one that has a 1 year deal that's super easy to trade.
Yeah, that's for sure. He's just been really good though.
I know, so you'll get more.
Dowdle has been good against two Swiss cheese run defenses also.
Yeah,
That's fair. But the Jets haven't been much better, and that'll be 3 in a row then, right? Next week.
maybe, unless they really did tighten up. I mean, it's just not a London fluke.
And the Cowboys, I believe they're going to be more lethal when Lamb comes back. But anyone pleasantly surprised with George Pickens right now?
He's one of the best yak receivers, I think, this year. For
Is it because he wants to make you yak?
no, it's because he wants to hurdle people. I think after that
Hurl?
one hurdle, he tried to do it like 2 more times. Unnecessarily, he tried to hurdle people.
Yeah. All right. That's enough dad jokes for the day here. All right. Anything from you guys on the Cowboys at the Panthers? It was a 57-point game. 57.
I'm just waiting for you to eat crow about Ferguson.
You mean with the 3 targets last week?
Down? Tied at #1 fantasy, 6 weeks in the league. 6
Yeah.
weeks in the league year.
You know who also had a touchdown last
You
week?
said he was 20. You said he was 20 what? 20 tied at 20 what before the season started?
You know who else had a touchdown this last week? The guy that we have a bet against, Mr. Darren Waller. 3 for 3.
Yeah, but all he does is just get a red zone target, and that's it. He doesn't get involved in the actual passing attack.
All right. I guess that brings us to our Chargers at Dolphins game here. Just happens to be the next game, so we might as well jump right into it. But Waller did get the touchdown in this one, but Herbert was able to strap the team to his back and lead the game-winning drive and get the win 29-27. Vidal was the lead back here for the Chargers. And it's a little bit surprising because it did seem like Haskins was going to at least be equally as involved, but that's not what happened here. Is he this good, or is the Dolphins' defense just this bad?
Well, the Dolphins' defense is really bad, but Vidal is better than Haskins.
Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, obviously, reports had come out that Haskins was going to be the lead back, and he is a Michigan product and has that relationship with the coach. And I feel like everybody was shocked with Vidal and the way he took over the backfield in that game.
Absolutely. 18 carries, 124 yards. But he wasn't the only Charger to go over 100 yards. Finally, Ladd McConkey puts up a 100-day performance. And he got 9 targets, 7 catches, 100 yards, and 1 touchdown. So hopefully this will get the monkey or the Mick monkey off his back. All right. But that Alex, was that because he's going to be a big part of the offense, or is that because Quentin Johnston missed the game with an injury this last week?
Well, Keenan Allen was barely involved in this one, so I don't think that really had that much to do with Quentin Johnston. I just think Ladd McConkey got open in this one. I think Gadsden got more targets because Quentin Johnston was out. But
he's going to be a good tight end.
I thought Trey Harris looked good in this one in his limited action.
He's one of your favorites.
Yeah, he's a rookie. He's getting the rookie treatment, but I think he's going to be a pretty good receiver in the league eventually.
Absolutely. But the Dolphins here, they're facing some major criticism. Tua, after the game here, throws leadership under the bus because teammates are not coming to the players only meetings that are in a sense run by him as a player and a captain. So is he indirectly throwing himself underneath the bus here?
It seems like it. It seems like he was trying to blame other people, but he's team captain and the quarterback of the team. He wants to say leadership. Look in the mirror, bud. It's a little fuzzy because of all his concussions, but I don't know.
Yeah, he's losing the team. McDaniels is losing the team. I think Tua's losing the team. I mean, Tua had 3 picks this game. I mean, I just don't understand how, you could go from leading the league in passing and I don't know. Maybe McDaniel just got figured out. I don't know. I mean, they lost Tyreek, but it's just, I don't know. The whole thing just feels like it's falling apart. I mean, except for A-Chain, who's stud.
I never thought Achane would end up being a full-time workhorse back, but he is holding up and looking really good. And Jalen Waddle looks really good as well. I don't understand why they still keep playing Tua. Like he's obviously not it. Maybe Zach Wilson's been really bad in practice, but Tua looks
I got Quinn
terrible, man.
Ewers.
Like it's Ewers. Like
Ewers.
Ewers. You see EW,
Yep.
Ewers. Ewers.
Ewers. Yep.
Yeah, they got to play one of those guys. See what happens.
I would say Ewers needs to be the next one up. In fact, if he
Zach
played
Wilson.
well, he could save McDaniel's job.
Zach Wilson actually has starting experience, though.
Say that with a straight face, please.
Zach Wilson could save the Miami Dolphins. He can do it. Just like when Chad Pennington went down to Miami from the Jets. So can Zach Wilson.
Is he the new Baker? Second team, starts eating.
He's the next Chad Pennington or Ryan Fitzpatrick. Who else jumped division team?
Donovan McNabb, traded though. Joe Flacco.
There you go. Joe Flacco will be on Pittsburgh next year. Mark my words.
That'd be hysterical. All right. Anything else on the Chargers and the Dolphins here?
Nope.
We got the battle of the R teams coming up here. The Rams at the Ravens. And we both picked the Rams. The Rams won. But the Rams beat the Ravens 17-3, which you would have thought would be a little bit more scoring for the Rams here, but that did not happen. Ravens did bench Cooper Rush for Snoop Huntley, but at 1-5, I believe that their season is currently on life support, and Lamar will be back right after the bye, so it is possible for them to snap back into this, especially with Derrick Henry getting back on track with 24 carries and 122 yards in this one. So he kind of single-handedly kept them in this game. And the Rams don't really do much in this game. They didn't really need to do much in this game. Puka Nacua was injured, which is his norm. But in this particular one, he didn't really come back to this game. He normally does come back after a few missed plays. But Nacua may miss a week or more, given that the bye is coming up here. Anything I missed on this one?
Not really.
Zay Flowers had 2 fumbles in this game. I think that was not typical. I mean, the weather wasn't great, right? So I feel like that contributed to some issues with Stafford throwing the ball, plus losing Puka. Yeah, I mean, the Ravens are a mess. I mean, I don't even know.
Yeah, it's interesting because Derrick Henry's still engaged, but you can tell there's people like Zay Flowers that just seem disengaged from the team, and I know I used that with the Eagles earlier, but if teams are expecting to be good and they're not good, you're finding some of their young players, especially at the wide receiver position, becoming disengaged quickly.
I mean, that's pretty typical of wide receivers. If they're not getting the ball on a consistent basis, they don't stay engaged. It's hard to run that many sprints if it's for nothing.
That is very true. And I guess that's a great segue to our next matchup here of the Patriots at the Saints. I picked the Saints. They lost. You picked the Patriots. They won. Drake May is becoming one of the best quarterbacks of his draft class right now, and that's saying something because I think that was one of the better draft classes for quarterbacks recently. Obviously, you still have Jaden Daniels as well, and but they did beat the Saints here 25-19. It was a much closer game than people predicted after the Patriots beat the Bills the previous week. Drake May is also the leading rusher in this game for the Patriots. That's probably not something that's sustainable for them to keep winning. But what surprised me in this matchup here is Stephon Diggs took a backseat to Booty and Douglas, and that was a little bit of a surprise coming off his performance against Buffalo. But Diggs did have one catch that he got called OPI on, and I don't believe that was a very good call. I don't think that he pushed off the guy at all, and it was a bad call. And there's been some pretty bad calls by officials this year, but typically they're told if they don't see it specifically not to call it, and that was not the case here.
I agree with that. I think he would have had a bigger game without that. But with everything nice that you said about Drake May, if only there was someone that we knew that said Drake May was the best quarterback in that draft class. If only I could remember what that person's name was. Was it Alan? Was it Eric? No, it was Alex. I said he was the best quarterback in that draft class. Yes, Jaden Daniels had the best rookie year, but Drake May looks awesome and looks good his sophomore year with a legitimate head coach, despite having no run game to help him out. So,
hey, if you're gonna take a victory lap on May, I mean, you just called him a legitimate head coach after. I believe you bashed him for a better part of 2 years, and I was like, no, Vrabel needs to be a head coach in this league right now.
No, I didn't say he was a good one. I said he was a legitimate one, Jeff. Let's be precise with our language. No, the problem with Vrabel is he needs a good quarterback to keep his offense running because he doesn't do offense. He only does defense, and he lucked into having a team that already drafted the quarterback of the future, and he was able to get Josh McDaniels as the offensive coordinator before Bill Belichick could. So that's helped him out a lot. It's just he couldn't do that in Tennessee. He never had a young quarterback that was actually good.
All right. And then the Saints, the only notes I have for the Saints here is they kept it close in this one here, but as the trade deadline approaches, keep an eye on Kamara and Olave, although the team has leaked out there that they are likely not to trade Kamara, which seems to be a bit of a misstep in my opinion. Any thoughts on that one?
I don't think they can trade his contract, so he's stuck.
Yeah, I think they're stuck, and he would be the perfect trade candidate. But I think all those years of cap gymnastics have come back to hurt them now in a scenario where they could reboot or hand the keys to Kendre and see what happens. Or Devin Neal. That now they're stuck. They're stuck with them. They're stuck with Kamara.
Yep. Well, I mean, no, you're stuck with the Pro Bowl running back. It's the worst thing to happen, but it's helping Spencer Rattler develop. So that's the plus side.
And I think he is actually developing too, which is saying something. I don't know if he's a long-term solution, but he's showing some signs.
I honestly think he looks better than Caleb Williams does, to be honest.
He may. They're both growing in these new systems, though, so I don't think they're complete products, either one of them, just yet.
I say that because I don't know how many of our viewers know they both competed with each other in Oklahoma for the starting job.
I did not know that. I did not know that. You're our draft guru. And all right, let's hop over to the next game here. I know previously with the Rams and Ravens, we talked about Zay Flowers being disengaged because of the lack of involvement. Well, Sam Darnold here takes a different approach here with the star receiver. We both picked the Seahawks in this one at the Jaguars. Seahawks did win this matchup, but because of Darnold being able to pepper him with targets and it actually working out, JSN has entered the elite wide receiver conversation, which color me a little bit surprised. I didn't expect to see that this year. I knew he was very good. He was rated in my top 12 receivers, but I didn't expect for him to be someone that we're looking to draft in the first round next year. And that is saying something. But Well, that's saying something. Walker and Charbonnet have forgettable days, and I have been warning folks about that on the podcast here. That when the volume and touchdowns didn't come for both of them, that it was going to be a head scratching day for one or both of them. In this case, it was both of them. And speaking of wide receivers, Brian Thomas Jr. has his first good game of 2025. I think overall, though, Darnold and Lawrence had a good game, and this was actually one of the better games of the day. It was a 20-12 victory. Thoughts on this one?
I think Seattle's run blocking is pretty poor, and I know a lot of people out there in the fantasy world want Kenneth Walker to get more carries because he has more juice than Charbonnet, but I just think the run blocking is what's stopping either one of them. Either one of them from doing well. It's not just the split. They just don't have much room to work with. But when it comes to quarterbacking, I think Sam Darnold's doing a really good job. He had some really, really nice throws this one, but he's another guy I think the house of cards will come tumbling down at some point. Trevor Lawrence, on the other hand, I think Trevor Lawrence is not that good of a passer. Seems like last week he had to get things done on the ground. This week he just kept chucking the ball until something worked, but he also took 7 sacks. So to me, he he has a little bit of Justin Fields in him. He's like a better version of Justin Fields, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you just can't help yourself with the Charbonnet. He's got like a French.
What do you want me to say? Charb on it? You want me to say charb on it?
Charbonnet. I don't know. You got like a French accent when you say it.
Well, it looks like a French name, so I'm gonna say it like that.
I'm an
Charbonnet.
or.
Charbonnet.
Anything from you, Jerome, on this one here?
Yeah, I mean, BTJ is starting to warm up a little bit. I thought his ADP was too high coming into the season, and he started slow and proved me right initially, but I feel like he's starting to warm up a little bit now. He would have had another long touchdown if Travis Hunter wasn't called offsides, and it would have been an even bigger monster day. But, I've never been a Trevor Lawrence guy. And I just don't think I could believe in any of those receivers because of that.
Well, that brings up a good point. 6 weeks in, what do we think of Travis Hunter? Everyone hyped him up like he was gonna be a superstar wide receiver out the gate, and that has not been the case.
Yeah, it's been pretty disappointing. I mean, I have him as a defensive back on a sleeper fantasy team, and I thought I had the cheat code figured out. And, he's really not scored much on offense or on defense.
And sometimes it takes a little bit of seasoning. We're still waiting for Jalen Hyatt.
When Jeff's wrong about one guy, he has to bring up somebody that I liked every time, not related to this game at all.
Nah, I brought up one of your concepts of just gotta season him a little bit.
Well, but I said that with Hunter, and you scoffed at me. They traded up everything to move up number 2 to take him. He was going to be used. He's not being used that way. And I've always felt he was a better defensive prospect than he was a wide receiver. His route running had a lot to be desired and needed to be cleaned up because he played just pretty raw at Colorado, and they did a lot of unscripted plays where Shador would run around and then he would get open, he'd throw it to him. He's a much better defensive player, more polished in that regard. He needed to get amped up and worked in, and I think he's going to be a better wide receiver next season. So next season, when people cooled on him, he's going to be a sleeper because everyone cooled on him because he had a bad rookie year.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. He is putting up something every week. A lot of rookies are having up and down games right now, but you'd like to see him have that one breakout game. But as you said, some of it could be Lawrence as a passer too.
Yeah, so one of the other things I said was he's probably going to have a pretty solid rookie year. It's just the hype around him built it up. If he doesn't have a superstar wide receiver year, people are going to find him disappointing. And I think he's going to have a solid rookie year from what we're traditionally used to, not what we've been spoiled with the last few years with, Brian Thomas last year, and before that, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, like these superstar wide receivers that just take off immediately. That's not typically the case. And I think Hunter will be a good wide receiver. It just won't show up until probably next year.
No, I can completely agree with that. As far as where I had Hunter, though, going into this year, he was my wide receiver 44, which I know a lot of folks had him higher than that. He's wide receiver 64 right now, so he does have some room to grow there, but he was not a top pick for me.
No, he's even doing lower than what I thought, too, when I was one of the most cautious people with him.
Matthew Golden's ahead of him.
Which is funny because I feel like Golden has, like, what, 7 catches on the year so far?
A couple 11-point games back to back, though.
Yeah.
11 this week, 8 and 8 before that. So he's been steadily improving. He's a guy to look out for on the second half of the year, just based on his trajectory right now.
Yeah.
But
All right, let's power through the rest of these Week 6 matchups, and we can do our Week 7 primer shortly after that. So we can move on to the colossal matchup between the Titans and the Raiders. It was a very tough battle, super high scoring. Jeff and I both picked the Raiders, and the Raiders won 20-10 in that epic beatdown, whatever we want to call that. Sloppy mess is probably more accurate. But Raiders did, in fact, win. Jeff, what were your takeaways in this matchup?
So Ward put up respectable numbers, but the run game fails to show up in this one here. Van Jefferson was the leading receiver for Cam Ward, which is not good. There's nothing good about that. The Raiders minimize Geno's touches and utilize the run game with Genty. Genty does go 23 carries for 75 yards and 1 touchdown. That's not great. I don't know how sustainable that is long term, getting 23 carries in a game and only going 75 yards. But you also have Trey Tucker continuing a great 2025, and I believe that he's still a wide receiver 1. Yeah, he's number 9 right now on the year. So interesting item there. So did you guys notice anything different on this game here?
Cam Ward had, I think, 3 turnovers this game. It was kind of his sloppiest game of the season when I felt like maybe they had a chance to take advantage against the Raiders, and it just didn't happen. Geno seems off. I mean, that Raiders offense just is not where it should be. I feel like they're still trying to figure out what they're doing there. I mean, Bowers is obviously out, so that could be reason for the downgrade. But I mean, Genty's been good. I mean, say what you want about the yards per carry this game, but I mean, considering how many rookies are playing poorly this season, I mean, I think it's hard to not give Genty some credit.
Well, and Jeff always says yards per carry isn't a running back stat, but whenever it's Genty, he's going to be like yards per carry. Just messing with you, Jeff. I think Genty looks good. I think putting that up with how bad the rest of the Raiders have been around him is what makes it look good. There's really not much to say about either of these teams. Both of these teams look pretty bad.
Yeah, my point wasn't the yards per carry, but I understand what you're saying there. My point was 23 carries and 75 yards feels like a pounding for a running back.
Yeah.
That's what they're paid to do.
It's more effective than what the same number of carries for Charbonnet and Walker put together. He's basically got all that just to himself and still was more effective than them.
I know, and he got 100% of the hits. At least they split the hits.
He doesn't get a hit. He bounces off.
He's not Chuck Norris.
He spends off the extra force, so it's not as rough on him.
Alex, are you old enough to know what Chuck Norris jokes are?
Yes.
I can't think of a Chuck Norris joke right off the top of my head, so we'll just keep moving on here.
It's funny. I just listened to a video the other day of Chuck Norris telling Chuck Norris jokes. I can't remember any of them either.
But I bet you Chuck Norris remembers every Chuck Norris joke.
I bet he does. I bet he writes every Chuck Norris joke.
He does. All right. Next matchup here is the Bengals at the Packers. We both picked the Packers. The Packers won. The Packers beat Flacco this time 27-18. 2019. Flacco did look better than Browning, but threw 45 times in his first start here as a Bengal. Chase and Higgins benefit greatly from having Flacco behind center. And I noticed Josh Jacobs continues his really good 2025 with 18 carries, 93 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I guess he was sick on the sidelines as well, so I think he was battling a cold and still put up those numbers in that performance. And as we were just talking here, Matthew Golden leads the Packers receivers in yards. So he might be a guy that is very slowly coming on and could be a fantasy asset down the stretch.
So, Jeff, you had a lot of concerns about the Bengals trading for Joe Flacco, and I think was it playbook, chemistry? He's old, gonna fall apart. Bad offensive line. He made the whole offense work. To be honest with you, even Chase Brown looked more efficient because the defense had to respect Flacco's arm. So, are you changing your tune on it, at least for fantasy purposes? Because real NFL, there's no way they win a lot of games with Flacco.
Yeah, I mean, and then how long do you trot Flacco out there for after you're eliminated? Like, what is the point?
Well,
But yeah,
who
I
else do
get
they
what
have
you're
to turn
saying.
to?
I get what you're saying, but he's not exactly a build for the future kind of guy, and like incentive goes down
Oh.
once you're eliminated for the playoffs.
Yeah, but they got him to compete now, and they only got him for a short time. They're gonna have Burrow back next year.
Yeah, for sure, and they should explore trading Burrow, and I'll go into more depth on that some other time. But man, the Bengals have really sold to their fan base that Burrow could return this year during the regular season, and I just think it's a pipe dream, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I think I mean, I don't see the sense in building for the future when you know it's going to be Burrow's job next year. I think you just let Flacco do his thing, try to get wins. I mean, they tried the future thing with Browning, and that didn't work out. So, I mean, I think this is where they're at. I think they're just going to try to win what they can.
Yeah, what a lost season though, because they were dominant in the preseason with Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. It felt like they were playing schoolyard ball, and here we are, middle of October. We're 6 weeks in, and we've already written them off, and it's sad because I do think that they could have been one of the powerhouses of the AFC, especially as the year went on. But that defense is pretty bad too, so they have to trade Trey. What's his last name?
Hendrickson, agreed.
All right. Well, let's hop over to our last 4 matchups. And the first one here is the 49ers at the Buccaneers. We both picked the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers won. Mac Jones was less impressive this week as the 49ers fall 30-19. Christian McCaffrey is having a heck of a year through the air, though, and his ground game isn't half bad either. Kind of amazing with all these injuries to San Francisco that Christian McCaffrey has been able to stay healthy this year. I think Alex alluded to going overseas and getting a little
Experimental German procedure with stem cells, I think.
Absolutely. And Mac Jones is experiencing his success because of his chemistry with Kendrick Bourne, who is also producing at a high level with 9 targets, 5 catches, and 142 yards. Baker Mayfield has to be a top 2 MVP candidate after week 6. Now, what I wonder is what the Buccaneers would look like if they could get all of their skill position players back, because now Ibuka's hurt as well, or as Gronk says, a big boo is hurt also. And I had to say that because that really cracked me up last week, and it's going to be something that cracks me up for a bit. But I think once this team gets Evans, Godwin, and Ibuka on the field at the same time, and even Jalen McMillan to a lesser extent, I think this team, and Bucky Irving, let's not forget Bucky Irving's out too. This team, I think, is the cream of the NFC right now, and I think this is the NFC champions if they can get healthy and stay healthy for a stretch.
We agree. Totally agree.
For the
That might be the
for the
first time.
49ers, they were the last team in the NFL to score a rushing touchdown. Found that interesting. Kendrick Bourne again. I mean, what can you say?
Was that on purpose or was that an accident?
No, that was on purpose.
He's been practicing that all week.
Juwan Jennings comes back and ends up just getting into an argument with Shanahan, I think, on the sideline. Fred Warner out for the season. I mean, I don't know how the Niners. I know the Niners lost this game, but I don't even know how they're staying in these games. I really don't. I mean, and they're winning, more often than not. And it's pretty amazing.
I think that speaks to
Saleh's a really good
Shanahan.
defensive coordinator, and Shanahan's a really good offensive minded coach. So, and they make Mac Jones and duct tape and rubber bands and paper clips look really, really, really good on the football field.
But if you look at what the Niners are missing, and I know we just talked about that with the Buccaneers, but you're missing Ayuk, Pearsall, Jennings to an extent, Kittle, Purdy. So they're not the beacon of health either. And if they could get fully healthy with where their record's at right now, they could easily be the number 2 seed in the NFC.
Did you say Kittle too? Okay.
They lost like 4 backup running backs too.
No. Jennings, it's funny that it just came out that he's playing through 5 broken ribs and a high and low ankle sprain. Like, why are you on the field? If you're that beat up, how are you even on the field?
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah. Well, that's who the Giants want to trade for is Jennings. And I'm like, why would you trade for someone that beat up? Trade for someone healthy.
A Hero Olave could be on the move soon, so we'll see. Speaking of receivers,
hopefully to a good team.
Hey, Jackson Dart needs a good number 2 receiver starting next year.
He's a good number 1 right now with Neighbors out.
That is true. That is true. Oh, right. Anything else on this matchup, guys?
Nope.
All right. We got the Lions at the Chiefs up next. And the Chiefs win this matchup. Their backs were up against the wall with a 2-3 record going into this matchup. They did win it, though. We both picked the Chiefs, and they did win 30-17. Mahomes is back to putting this team on his back. And that's an interesting timing thing because Rashee Rice returns to the lineup next week, which is just another weapon to add to a uber efficient Kansas City team right now. And Kelce is the leading target for Mahomes right now, so getting Rice back couldn't come at a better time to give Kelce a little bit of a reprieve. But I think along with Mahomes, as we just talked about, being able to put a team on his back, especially with their backs against the wall. And we were just talking about Baker Mayfield being an MVP candidate. I would say Jared Goff has to be considered an MVP candidate as well. And he has a good night as well. But the difference here is the Lions just weren't able to complete drives and get the ball into the end zone. And that was the complete difference in this game, in my opinion.
Well, that and the refs didn't blow the whistle against the Chiefs one time.
Hey, when you're perfect, you're perfect.
Yeah.
I think they blew the whistle 4 total times in that game.
There was a missed block in the back play that should have been called that ended up leading to a tussle at the end of the game. So maybe the refs should actually call penalties. But it's really bad of Branch, the defensive back for the Lions, who was like the only healthy starter, to get himself suspended for starting the fight. It doesn't matter whether you thought something dirty happened earlier. Like, the game's over. Don't get yourself in trouble. Don't get fined. Don't get suspended. It's just dumb. There's no excuse.
Yeah. I will say, though, that the NFL does need to take a look at illegal formation on the offense penalties, because who asked for those and who needs those, really? At least to the degree that we get them. I don't think they're as I just think that they're very tedious. But total in this game was 4 penalties, and they were all 4 on the Lions. So very, very small penalties called in this entire game, though. And it seems like the refs had to get out of there as quickly as possible, and they probably had dates or something like that.
Yeah, one of those illegal formation penalties eliminated a Montgomery to Golf touchdown pass, which was pretty fun to watch the way that Goff caught it up against his receiver and the defensive back all at the same time. But yeah, it's nice to see. It's nice to see Mahomes slinging it again. I mean, just from a fantasy perspective, like Mahomes being QB 15 just doesn't make any sense. So it's nice to see that happening. And Brian Branch. I mean, the worst part about throwing a punch post game is appealing the suspension. I mean, I don't understand how you throw that haymaker and then you appeal it. Though I almost wonder if the whole point is maybe just to postpone when the suspension happens, because I think Detroit has a big game in week 7. Is that right? Do you have the schedule up there?
I do. They play the Buccaneers, but how big of a game is it when there's no Abuka, no Godwin, no Evans, no McMillan, no Irving? It's gonna be Mayfield and Scrubs out there.
Hey, you got
Well,
Rashad
Evans
White.
might play.
It's true. It's possible. Make them all come back together the following week, though. That would be epic.
But
Just
Mahomes
assemble.
is now quarterback number 1 in fantasy.
Thought you told me that he wasn't that good anymore.
I told you this is the year he has that fire that he's gonna play well, and it looked bad the first couple of weeks.
I know. I crept him up to my QB to start the year, and that was kind of bold considering where he had been the last couple of years. So
Yeah, I think they wanted to air it out, and then they lost Worthy for a little bit, and I think that caused some of that to not be clicking. But now I feel like Worthy's back and Rice is coming back, so I think it's going to be. I think it's
absolutely, they are they're a very fun team to watch at this exact point. I would watch that game over and over again with the Lions and the Chiefs, to be honest.
They're just gonna make it an every year affair.
Would love it. All right. I know Alex thinks that the NFL makes the schedule, and then I always have to provide the formula, the secret formula to the Krabby Patty.
Can still manipulate it. Boom. They can still, like, even knowing what the majority of the teams are and the matchups are, they can still flex it around to the most advantageous ones if they want to.
All right. We'll argue about that till we're blue in the face. All right. So the next matchup here are the 2 Monday night matchups. The first one is the Bills, the Falcons. We both picked the Bills. The Bills lost. Bijan Robinson took over this game. The Falcons won it 24-14. The Buffalo Bills offense did take a little bit of a hit. In pregame, Kincaid was ruled out. Palmer was hip drop tackled and ruled out of the game subsequently. After 2 big catches, I think he was close to 50 yards when he got ruled out. Curtis Samuel was ruled out pregame as well. But I think everyone here will agree that the Buffalo Bills need to figure out what's going on during their bye week and make some changes. I don't know exactly what those changes look like right now, but on the Falcons side of the ball, the Falcons were impressive, but we do need to keep an eye on an injury report this week with Michael Penix's throwing elbow, which he was holding at the end of yesterday's game, and I do believe that caused them to be conservative down the stretch as well.
I don't know why when they have Kirk Cousins ready to sling the ball. And it's been pointed out that the Bills lose the games that they don't get 100 yards rushing with James Cook, so maybe they should keep giving him the ball a couple more times.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, Cook seemed to be gashing that defense. It just, I don't know. You talked about the other wide receivers being out. I don't think you mentioned Kincaid being out. I think that was a big piece to the puzzle that fell apart for the Bills. I don't know. I mean, they just didn't have enough juice. I mean, that game was, Bijan carried them on his back and Drake London between those two guys. I mean, they just won that game for the Falcons by themselves.
Absolutely. And I know we just talked about Chris Olave. What if the Bills traded for Chris Olave? Any interest there?
Are the
I'm not
Bills
sure what they
interested?
need. I'm not sure what type of wide receiver they need.
DJ
they just
Moore?
invested in Coleman.
It'd be nice to have Stephon Diggs, wouldn't it?
It would.
Yeah.
It would. Same could be said for Houston.
No, Houston doesn't need Stephon Diggs. Houston has so many wide receivers they can't
all
feed them
very
all.
young. All very
Yep.
young.
All very young, all very good. Every single Houston wide receiver is better than what the Bills have.
Do not besmirch Elijah Moore like that. Although I will admit, though, that Joshua Palmer pre-injury looked like he's starting to have a heating up a connection here with Josh Allen. So something to keep an eye out, especially for people that bet. He had hit the over on catches and yards before he got injured in the first quarter. So interesting there. All right. Last matchup of the week was the battle of the first and second overall picks last year. It was the Bears at the Commanders. Alex and I both picked the Commanders. The Commanders took a L on this matchup. Not sure how much you could take away from this matchup just due to the fact of how much rain there was here, but the Bears do just enough to walk away with the win, a 25-24. Interesting that Jake Moody was the deciding factor here and was able to get a walk-off kick, considering how the beginning part of his season went in San Francisco. DeAndre Swift had his best game of the entire season, 14 carries, and also 175 total yards. So he was uber productive on the ground and through the air. I think he was the leading receiver for the Bears as well. And Daniels does a lot with his arm in this one, 3 passing touchdowns. And he still doesn't have Terry McLaurin back, and he also doesn't have a full health Deebo Samuel right now. But Bill Krosky-Merritt fumbles in this one here. And there was also a muffed handoff between Daniels and Krosky-Merritt as well. Could his job be in jeopardy, and could they turn to like Chris Rodriguez here?
The fumble at the end of the game, I think it was charged to Daniels.
It was.
That probably had something to do with the weather and the rain, but gosh, I mean, they had that game. I mean, they just were gonna get first downs and run out the clock, and they fumble it, and they gave the Bears life. So, I mean, that was too bad. I thought that was Washington's game to lose, and they lost it in that fourth quarter.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I still think Bill Krosky-Merritt is still going to be the guy, unless they trade for somebody else entirely. But it was kind of a sloppy game for anyone not named Swift in this matchup. I thought DeAndre Swift was very decisive and very explosive, and maybe the rain helps slick him down so he couldn't be tackled, but he found the hole really well. Their change at left tackle for Chicago has made a huge difference the last 2 weeks. He can actually block, and they're finally calling outside zone runs for Swift, outside sweeps. He looks really good, finally being used how he's supposed to. I don't know why they were trying to run him up the middle so many times the first 4 weeks. All those inefficient, like 20 rushes for 40 yards the first first 4 weeks, but he looked great in this one. I hope it continues.
Absolutely. And it's good to see a really close game with the 2 top quarterbacks from last draft. I know Drake May is in there as well. So, I mean, I just feel like the way that this game went signals really good things for the future for both of these franchises and for the NFL. All right. You ready to hop over to the Week 7 primer here?
Let's do it.
All right. So, to start off here, we got our bye weeks, and it's the Ravens and the Bills. So there's going to be some big heavy hitters that we're going to want to take out of lineups just with that right there. But on Thursday night, we get kicked off with the Steelers at the Bengals. Alex, who are you taking in this one?
I'm going the Steelers in this matchup. I don't expect it to be a very high scoring affair. Straight pick 'em, Steelers. If I was playing for the spread, I'd go under on the spread because I think it's going to be really close. Right now, I think it's 5.5 point favorite to the Steelers.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Steelers in this one as well. I was really close to making this my lock it up of the week. Jerome, who are you going to be taking in this matchup here? We're going to add your picks in this week as well.
All right, I'm going to stay hometown. I'm going to go with the Steelers.
Well, it's in Cincinnati, but we know it's your hometown. Your hometown Steelers.
So we know where to find you.
Mhm.
All right. So we got the last international game of our international series, which I'm a little bit grateful for. I do enjoy a few weeks of the year having that 9:30 a.m. game. I think 4 in a row is a bit much, but I digress a little bit here, but it's the Rams at the Jaguars. And in this matchup here, this one's going to be a little bit harder because I think if the Rams were at full strength, I would be picking the Rams in this one, but give me the Jaguars because they aren't at full strength, and the Jaguars, this is their second home. Alex, who you got?
That doesn't mean anything. I'm still going the Rams in this one. I don't believe in the Jaguars. They're fool's gold. Trevor Lawrence is not very good at actually getting the ball to his weapons. So give me the Rams.
Tie break us here, Jerome.
I'm picking the Rams. I think that their D line is just going to cause problems for Trevor Lawrence, and Stafford still has Adams to make it happen on offense.
And
He
Tutu
does.
Atwell. Come on now.
And Tutu. And Kyron. And
It's a long
Corum.
flight from LA to London. Long flight for old back. For an old back.
Yeah, well, he'll just bring his travel hyperbaric chamber that he can just sleep in the entire flight.
Overseas.
Yeah.
You see a jet flying with a pulling a trailer.
No, they can get. Ray Lewis used to have one that was kind of like a zip up one. He can just bring like a travel one. I mean, I don't know how much it's going to cost to bring on the plane, but
He's got the money. All right, let's hop over to the Panthers at the Jets. Alex, do you believe the Panthers get their first road victory in this one?
oh, this is such a toss up. I almost. Man, I am. I'm going to pick the Jets. I feel like they need to get a win to get some pressure off the coach's back, and the Panthers aren't as good on the road. That's really it.
I agree, but we have to remember the Panthers are not as traveled as the Jets right now. They went to London and back, and I do believe that that is going to be the difference in this one, and I believe the Panthers get their first road victory. Jerome, you got to tie break us here again.
Yeah, I think it's the Panthers. Last week, if you combine Justin Fields' passing yards with his sack yards lost, he had negative 10 yards passing. And I just don't think that is going to win you any football games.
Yeah, and then the Panthers' run defense stops what the Jets are best at, so we'll see what gives there. All right, our next matchup is the Raiders at the Chiefs. And in this matchup here, I'm going to take the Chiefs. This is pretty close to my lock it up of the week as well. Alex, who are you taking in this matchup?
I'm also taking the Chiefs. It should be pretty self-evident in this one with how much the Raiders have struggled, and Chiefs should have just about everyone back. And I would imagine Rashee Rice plays.
Yeah, I'm
That is a
going
good
Chiefs.
point.
That's a no-brainer.
That is a good point. I remembered earlier, but good call back here. All right, a Chiefs sweep, so probably means a Raiders victory there. Reverse jinx type deal here. All right, Alex, you're up here with the Dolphins at the Browns.
I'm going the Browns in this one. I don't believe in the Dolphins, and the Browns have a really good defense, and the Browns are at home. Dolphins are terrible at away games.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Browns in this one as well. We making it 3 for 3, Jerome.
We are. I think it's Quinshawn's turn to get 200 total yards against this Miami defense, and I think the Browns are going to win.
You heard it here first. Quinshon Judkins is Week 7 RB1.
Oh, wow. Get him in your lineup. All right, we got the Patriots at the Titans up next here. Titans got a fresh new head coach, but this is a Mike Vrabel revenge game. And for that reason, I'm going to go the Patriots, and I'm going to actually lock up the Patriots this week as well as my lock it up of the week.
Patriots should pummel the Titans this week. I would be shocked if the Titans actually won a game the rest of the year, let alone this one. So, yep, give me the Patriots.
I think the Patriots win, but if I were a betting man, I feel like this is one, though, where the Titans win with the spread. I think they keep it close. I think they play for the new coach. I think it gives them a jolt. And, but Patriots straight up.
Well, you had me questioning what the spread was in that game now, and it is a 7-point swing right now. So you think it'll be less than a touchdown?
Yeah, I think they surprise and they keep it close, but lose.
All right. Alex, you are up now with the Saints at the Bears.
I think this is another coin flip, but I'm going Bears at home.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the Bears on this one as well. Jerome, who do you got on this one?
I was going to go the other way, but the Bears are at home, so I'm going to stay with the Bears.
Yeah, it's really hard to go the other way on that one. All right, I guess I am up on this one here. This is actually a pretty good matchup here. It's the Eagles at the Vikings, the Carson Wentz Bowl here, and we honestly have no idea who the starter for the Vikings is going to be at this point. Fantasy owners are hoping it's Carson Wentz. I think Vikings fans are hoping it's going to be JJ McCarthy because they want to see what this. But man, and the Eagles have been playing so vile lately. Give me the Vikings off of the bye in this one, regardless of the quarterback.
I'm going to go Eagles because I think they'll bounce back this week. And if Jalen Carter can play, then Carson Wentz or JJ is going to get beat up pretty bad this game.
So start JJ and go to Carson. Got it.
I think Carson Wentz is going to lead the Vikings to a win this week.
Wow, that's bold. You are naming the quarterback and the winner. They should call
he's the
you,
best QB they've got right now.
They should call you Kevin O'Connell. All right. Alex, you are up. It is the Colts at the Chargers. This is a good matchup.
Chargers are at home. Both tackles are out. It's really hard to pick. Both starting running backs are out. Didn't think I'd do this, but I'm going the Colts. Going the Colts in the sea battle.
The battles of the seas. 48.5 over under. Chargers are favored by 1.5 at home. I'm also going to go the Colts in this matchup. I originally had the Chargers, and I switched it because I realized their home field advantage means less than nothing.
I'm picking the team with the best QB in this matchup, which is the Indianapolis Colts. I think they're going to beat the Chargers.
You are doubling and tripling down on that. Offline, Jerome believes that Justin Herbert is not a good NFL quarterback.
I do not.
And here we are. All right. Giants at Broncos is the next matchup here. Can the fraternity keep it up against the Broncos that have been struggling a bit? Also had a trip over to London and back, which is a little bit further over to Mountain Time Zone. And for that reason, with the Giants playing the Thursday before and having a little bit of extra time to rest, I'm going to go the Giants in this matchup.
Interesting. That would be a nice upset. I'm still going to go Broncos because it's in Mile High and the defense is really good. So give me the Broncos.
Would that win the Broncos more this week with all that travel?
What?
Playing in Mile High?
No, because they're acclimated to it.
I feel like everything points to the Giants this week, so I'm going to go the other way with the Broncos.
Oh, boy. I know. There's a lot in the Giants' favor here, though. They have 10 days rest. They have no London travel. So there is a lot going the Giants' way for this matchup to be scheduled the way that it was. All right, Alex, you are up here with the Packers at the Cardinals.
I'm going Packers.
All right. I am also going to go the Packers in this matchup. Jerome, you are up. All right. We are down to our final 4 matchups here. And the first one is the Commanders at the Cowboys. And this game was a lot harder for me to pick, but after thinking it all the way through, I am going to go the Cowboys in this matchup.
Surprisingly enough, Jeff, I am also going to go the Cowboys in this matchup. It's going to be a really tough one, I think. Commanders just... Normally I would have gone the Commanders, but they just don't look good either.
And we don't know if McLaurin and Lamb play. And Commanders have one less day rest as well, which could be a thing. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think Lamb comes back. And for that, I'm going to pick the Cowboys.
I was kind of hoping he didn't come back this week so I could send out some trade offers for Lamb. But it's really hard to when his projection is showing up on websites and people are like, no, I don't want to trade this 20-point guy for a guy that's a little bit better. All right. Alex, you are up at the Falcons at the 49ers.
Well, I'm going with the beat-up 40.
The beat-up? Man, this matchup is a lot harder after watching what the Falcons did to the Bills this past week. But I believe that Robert Saleh can piece together this defense with some duct tape and silly putty and silly string, and I believe that the 49ers won this matchup as well.
Going Niners too.
I think their coaching's better, which is a big deal. Shanahan ever coached for the Falcons in any capacity?
Yeah,
The
in the Super Bowl.
coordinator, right?
Yep.
So there you go. Revenge game here. All right. We got a couple of Monday night games, and everyone's going to be a little bit sad on the East Coast here. One starts at 7 and one starts at 10 on the East Coast. So if you're on the East Coast, be prepared to go to bed at 1 a.m. to watch the last matchup. But the first matchup is probably actually, we have two good Monday night matchups, which ESPN really lucked out this year. The first one is the Buccaneers at the Lions. And given the Buccaneers' woe at wide receiver and the Lions' woe at defensive back, this could be a very interesting matchup as far as the Buccaneers' pass game goes. But with Bucky Irving also not playing, give me the Lions in this matchup.
I'm also going the Lions in this one as well. I like both teams. I won't be disappointed either way, but Lions at home.
I'm going Baker. I think the MVP path continues, and I think he somehow lifts this team to an improbable win this weekend.
Yeah, if he can win this one, though, I don't really know how Baker isn't the MVP leader. All right, brings us to our last matchup. It's your matchup, Alex, literally, and you're up first. And it's the Texans at the Seahawks. What are your thoughts here?
I'm going the Texans with this one. They've had the bye week off. They've looked better the past couple games despite being against lesser competition. And the Seahawks have had two tough matchups back to back. So I expect the Texans to get a win. And either way, win or lose, it's going to show what the Texans are at this point.
Absolutely. Seahawks have put up some very, very impressive performances. JSN could be neutralized with the secondary of the Texans, but I just put him in the elite category, so I won't bank on that. So give me the Seahawks in this one.
I'm going Seahawks too, but I don't think it's JSN that is the difference maker here. I think it's a Ken Walker game.
Ooh.
I think he runs for 100 and gets a touchdown.
Wow. All right.
Right.
I mean, this is a really good slate, so we're pretty lucky going into this week.
I think it's likely a defensive battle between both teams, so it should be low scoring.
But the under, you heard it here first from Alec.
All right. Well, that does it for another episode of the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast. Thank you all for downloading and listening to this episode. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please leave us a comment and share the show. Every little bit helps.
You can find us on all podcasting apps by searching N2E Fantasy, and with our handle N2E Fantasy on all social media platforms. Please join our community and give us a follow. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and remember, it's truly never too early for fantasy football. Thank you again.
Bye, everybody.